We have received a number of comments from members of the Congress that we've been asked to share among our committee and with the group here today. Needless to say, our time has been very short, so we've had to somewhat limit this. I've talked to quite a number of the members in Washington, and the members also are voting. I think they're tied up in probably health care today, but whatever the case, I would like to take a few moments before lunch to share with you messages we've received from 5 of principally local senators and representatives at their request that we read or display their videos, so I will do that now. The first one is from Senator Shelby, and it goes as follows. I want to thank you for visiting Huntsville and Decatur and for providing the opportunity for those directly involved with space as well as the general public to interact with the committee. The objectives that you're undertaking are both a challenge and an opportunity. You have a huge challenge before you and a critical responsibility of determining the options and direction of our nation's human spaceflight program. I appreciate your willingness to devote the time necessary to conduct this review. North Alabama, and specifically the Marshall Space Flight Center, has been at the forefront of human space activity since the beginning of our nation's space program. Today we meet in the shadow of the great achievements the people at NASA have accomplished. I hope that the enthusiasm that surrounds this area with its ties to human spaceflight has been evident to the committee. The 40th anniversary of humans landing on the moon for the first time. It has been a time to reflect on what our nation is capable of when leadership, motivation, and perseverance come together with a goal that is defined and supported. Now we must move on and move forward, and this committee will provide options that will define the direction manned spaceflight will take in space for decades to come. There is a robust economy in Alabama and across this country with companies that can do everything from building rockets that will go to the far reaches of the universe to developing nanoparticles for stronger materials that withstand the rigors of space. No matter what has been needed, American ingenuity and combined with the capability and direction from NASA has brought an understanding of the universe that only a few generations ago would have been thought impossible to know. This would never have happened without NASA leading the way. NASA's manned space program, its astronauts, and its accomplishments are the inspiration that leads future generations to become our innovators, engineers, and scientists. The impact of human spaceflight reaches far beyond aerospace activities. It attracts people to scientific careers and the development of technologies that improve our lives in many ways. The inspiration provided by the human spaceflight program launched an entire generation that, while aspiring to be like astronauts that would go to space, would become the scientists and engineers that make our country the leader in science, technology, and innovation it is today. For us to maintain such leadership, the children of today need the same opportunities, dreams, and excitement to maintain our country's place as a leader in aerospace as well as in other scientific disciplines like physics, biology, and chemistry. I support manned space flight and see that it is relevant today as it was over 40 years ago. The benefits to our nation go far beyond NASA. Yet without clear direction and purpose, NASA will achieve less as it fights internal battles over what direction it should take. As the ranking member of the Senate Appropriations Subcommittee on Commerce, Justice, Science, and Related Activities, and as a senator from the state that is the home to the NASA Center that focuses on delivering humans to space, the funding and direction of the NASA space program is of great importance to me. History shows that when the nation has provided the necessary resources and called upon the people of Alabama to deliver humans to space, they have delivered. I wish to thank you and the rest of the members of the committee for their commitment to human spaceflight and to our nation, and it's signed by Senator Shelby. We also have a letter from Senator Sessions. It is my pleasure to welcome you to Huntsville, Alabama, and the Marshall Space Flight Center, the original home of NASA, as you continue your mission to ensure the nation pursues the best trajectory for human space flight. I note with great interest that the distinguished membership of this committee brings a wealth and broad range of experience to this analysis. I offer my congratulations to you all for your selection to participate in this important review. Given the groundbreaking work to propel our nation into orbit conducted at MSFC over the past 50 years, I can think of no better place to host your proceedings. As you know, MSFC has made tremendous contributions to our nation's space program since its establishment in 1960. When President Kennedy set forth the challenge of putting a man on the moon by 1970, it was the team at MSFC who made that challenge into a reality by building the Saturn V rocket. The drive, innovation, and spirit of achievement continues today at MSFC as the center supports NASA's portfolio of science, aeronautics, and exploration, including the development of the next generation of rockets that will provide transportation for future human spaceflight missions. As we look toward the future and seek to continue our nation's unparalleled legacy in space, it is clear that the Marshall team will continue to play a vital role in ensuring that the United States maintains the world's preeminent space program. I welcome you to Marshall, wish you all the best for a productive session, and thank you for continued service on behalf of our nation. Please do not hesitate to contact me or a member of my staff if I may be of any assistance. And that's signed by Senator Sessions. We have also letters from, or inputs from 3 congressmen, the first 2 in the form of pre-recorded tapes. And if we could we play Representative Griffith's tape first?
Chairman Augustine and honored committee members, thank you for allowing me this opportunity to provide you with my thoughts on the future of our nation's human spaceflight policy. Allow me to welcome you to North Alabama, where we are proud of our strong space exploration legacy that includes the Apollo, Skylab, Space Shuttle, and the International Space Station programs. We're also proud of the progress that has been made on the Ares 1 launch vehicle and excited about the challenge of developing the heavy lift Ares 5. As you all know, with the impending Space Shuttle retirement, there will be a 5-year gap in human spaceflight capability, threatening our nation's dominance in space technology and innovation. As the retirement of the Space Shuttle nears, it is imperative that we as a nation develop the next generation spaceflight program to return to the moon and beyond. Constellation, the current launch architecture for our return to the moon, is the appropriate architecture. This architecture has received the bipartisan approval of Congress in both the appropriations and the authorization process. It's capable of achieving our human spaceflight goals in a safe, innovative, affordable, and sustainable way. As you will surely recall, our nation suffered a great tragedy on February 1, 2003, when we lost the crew of the Space Shuttle Columbia. The Columbia Accident Investigation Board's final report recognized that the tragedy was due in part to failings of a haphazard policy process. The board noted a pattern of optimistic pronouncements about a revolutionary shuttle replacement, followed by insufficient government investment and then program cancellations due to technical difficulties. If our nation's space agency and its space programs are to have future credibility in Congress, we must break this cycle. The current architecture was selected utilizing technical analyses that involved more than 20 technical experts at NASA headquarters and hundreds of employees from across the agency. NASA and its contractors have demonstrated good progress on the Constellation architecture. They have faced their share of technical challenges, but we shouldn't be surprised that the human exploration of our solar system is technically challenging. We overcame these kinds of technical challenges during Apollo, and we will overcome them again. We should keep this current space transportation architecture on track and not throw away the substantial investment of tax dollars that this has already been made. The Constellation program is essential to our national security and to maintaining space dominance on the international stage. Our return to the moon and the benefits that our nation will see as a result of continued human space exploration depends on a serious and sustained investment in the Constellation architecture. North Alabama engineered our first trip to the moon, and with our current program, we will do it again. I look forward to working with NASA's newest administrator, Charles Bolden, in taking the next step in manned spaceflight and exploration. Thank you for your time and consideration as we all work together toward our ultimate goal of continued American supremacy in space.
And we have a tape from Representative Adderholt as well. Could we play that?
I want to thank the Augustine panel for an opportunity to comment on this very important issue. NASA has achieved great things, both in terms of pure science, inspiring the human spirit to great goals, and in terms of the many practical spin-off technologies and engineering achievements that would have never existed without NASA, and specifically without the exploration programs. I sincerely believe that exploration of space is not just a luxury. Other nations are pressing ahead with major programs of their own. And even apart from that, achieving access to space will continue to push us to learn more crucial matters of physics and perhaps even healthcare. The growth rate in NASA's budget has been very small in the past 20 years compared to other federal agencies. I encourage the President to send Congress a budget which requests are more realistic in terms of the funds truly needed for exploration. We should never be dependent on other nations for access to space. I hope the President will review the findings of this panel and lay out a vision that aggressively achieves the United States access to space and makes plans for a base on the moon. We need a budget request which includes sufficient funding for the exploration programs and which enables NASA programs managers to put together a team of experienced government engineers and aerospace companies to get the job done. In this year, which is the 40th anniversary of the Apollo moon landing, it would be great to confirm to the world what year we are returning to the moon. Of course, I'm very proud of the special role that Marshall Space Flight Center has played in so many missions. With the government employees and the private company employees in North Alabama, both at Marshall and on the many defense projects managed at Redstone Arsenal, there is nothing we can't design, test, and build in North Alabama. Thank you, and I look forward to working with administration and my colleagues in both the House and the Senate to continue the wonderful work done by NASA.
And we have a letter from Congressman Davis that I've been asked to read. As an Alabamian and as an American, I'm proud to support NASA and North Alabama's own Marshall Space Flight Center. Since the agency's inception in July of 1958, NASA has led the world to the far reaches of space, and in doing so, has set new standards for scientific research and discovery. It is because of what scientists and engineers have accomplished here in North Alabama at the Marshall Space Center that America remains the undisputed world champion in space exploration. And our edge in space has emboldened us, as John Kennedy said it would, to chart new paths in the fields of aviation, defense, technologies, telecommunications, medicine, and across every research discipline that requires human genius. Here in Alabama, our support of NASA has created a high-wage, high-tech job base that was once beyond our reach. A state that once languished and is now contributing to America the Ares 1 and Ares 5 and Orion space capsule projects that will assemble the International Space Station. To be designed and manufactured here in Alabama, these projects represent an essential component of America's next generation space fleet, and they deserve America's commitment. We must be mindful that in Washington we have had to constantly fend off proposed cuts to these investments. A country that dreams as boldly as we do simply cannot forego the investment in a marvel like the International Space Station. When it comes to space, you lose ground when you fail to move forward. Scaling back our standing as the global leader in space research and space defense systems would be a huge step in the wrong direction. When President Kennedy called on us to put a man on the moon at the time when freedom's survival was uncertain, we responded with an unprecedented investment in an unproven space program. The result was another testament to America's capability to bend even part of the universe to our will. Today, as the world shrinks and circumstances change rapidly, there should be a few simple truths about our will as it relates to the final frontier. We are not willing to cede our position on the cutting edge of aerospace technology. We are not willing to hand over our role as the leader in the sciences. We are not ready to choose retreat over another push toward the outer reaches of knowledge. I believe we are equal to the challenge that faces us in these times, so I urge the Augustine Commission to support full funding of NASA and the Marshall Space Center for continued progress in its current mission. And so let me thank each of those individuals for their input and for their support of this program. And we now have used up, we've got 5 minutes of negative slack in our program today. It shows poor management. And why don't we plan to meet, we'll cut lunch by 5 minutes and regain slack, and we'll plan to meet back here at exactly 1 o'clock. Is that right? Yeah, it is right. 1 o'clock here. Thank you.